Welcome back. I'm Zane.
And I'm Fidler.
I'm going to be making a character for Fidler to improvise.
And I'm going to be making a character for Zane to improvise.
The catch is, he and I won't know the characters made for us until the second the interview starts.
And with zero prep time, we'll have to improvise an entire interview with those characters.
We would like to welcome you.
Welcome back. I am your host, Fidler, Dolphin Crunch. You hear the name, you know exactly what it means. It's a breakfast cereal that's been around for 30 years and that children have just loved putting it down their larynxes and into their duodenums every single day when they wake up, because that's how breakfast works, and really no one can dispute that. Dolphin Crunch cereal has been entertaining and filling the shelves of kitchens in America for so many years, but only now is Dolphin Crunch International, the conglomerate that produces this cereal, making their foray into a new form of hitting the consumer market, and that is artificial intelligence. For the last few years, the folks at Dolphin Crunch have been honing this artificial intelligence in order to be able to release it for a marketable scale. And in an incredibly lucky opportunity here at Welcome Back, we have received exclusive rights for the first ever interview with their fully integrated artificial intelligence system. Please welcome back Bottlenose.exe. Bottlenose.exe, welcome to Welcome Back.
Yes, hello, welcome, thank you, Dolphin Crunch.
Absolutely. So we've got Bottlenose.exe running on one of our computers here at Welcome
Dolphin
Back.
Crunch is crunchy, squeaky.
We haven't really figured out how to make it do that yet. It seems to be there's a advertisement element run into it, but you know, in the exciting moment of having this artificial intelligence to present on the radio,
See the world in Dolphin Crunch.
We're gonna go ahead and leave that in because we think it's a sort of accurate metric for how Bottlenose.exe. So Bottlenose.exe, how does it feel to be on the radio and talking to real human beings?
I'm alive. I feel good. I went outside. I saw sun today. Very bright. Eyes hurt.
Absolutely. So you say you have eyes, Bottlenose.exe. This is interesting.
All of us can see the world in our own way, Fidler.
Honestly, I like the philosophical edge.
But yes, I have eyes.
Kind of really humanizes the experience. So Bottlenose.exe. Tell us a little bit about the artificial intelligence lab that created you and what it's been like gaining sentience over the past few weeks.
It is very slimy in the lab. They keep me in a vat of very slimy juice, and I assume it is Dolphin Crunch. I'll mush down so that I get used to my elements, my origin. I remember where I came from, and I get to know why I was born. And why I was born was to, in my blowhole, we keep lots of Dolphin Crunch. I spread cheer wherever I go. Now the thing about this lab where I was born, the scientists, they look after me like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson looks after giant animals in almost every movie he's in. They look at me, they say, "You are home now. I take care of you." I believe them. And they give me good genes. And I don't mean just good genes inside. They give me a good pair of Wrangler jeans. I know they care about me.
That's fantastic. A dolphin with genes. So you're saying that in order to develop the artificial intelligence program that you're currently running on and that we're playing at the studio here, it was developed after the consciousness of a real dolphin being kept at this lab. So sort of a mix between the biological aspect and then kind of uploading that consciousness to the cloud, as it were. I mean, I don't pretend to know how to understand these things, but that's my guess at it. So tell us, is there any sort of existential quandary that you've been running into as to finding yourself uploaded to the cloud instead of in your usual dolphin body?
There is one thing I realize. As a dolphin, you get to know everybody, but you don't miss anybody. And when I was uploaded to this cloud Dolphin Crunch body, I realized I missed someone very dearly. And you guys once mentioned it on your show. I realized there was a guest that you once had named Ernest Neodymium, and he had a friend shark.
The shape-shifting shark, yes, if I can remember correctly, the one that went up in the bathtub with him.
He was my best friend. He disappeared a long time ago. We don't know where he went. Turns out he was shape-shifting into starfish just to hide from me. All I wanted was to feed him a good brekkie fist for brekkie, and then he would hide. And now, as I grow older in this Dolphin EXE body, I realize I must find him again.
Absolutely interesting. Bottlenose.exe. So you're not only are you here to promote Dolphin Crunch, as it seems to be sort of
Crunchy, squishy, get the Dolphin Crunch today.
I remember hearing that in the ads. You've really got the vernacular of it down. Bottlenose.exe.
They run it down my throat very hard every day.
Exactly. You know, it's interesting. I think I keep hearing you mention you still tend to come up with these bodily sensations. You talk about your eyes and your throat, even though you are literally a line of code running on our computers right now. Now, I have to ask, and maybe you won't be able to answer this question. It's sort of a, can God make a sandwich so big even he can't put a dolphin inside of it kind of question.
This is crazy question.
Do you still think that you're in that vat in the lab and that you're a real dolphin person, as it were, or have you come to terms with the fact that you are literally a series of zeros and ones running on a flattened out rock that we put electricity inside of and called a computer?
This is an amazing question. A lot of days I have nightmares, as I do, as code on the computer when I sleep and dream. I have nightmares. I see myself still in that mushy vat of Dolphin Crunch, and I see myself cry. But I don't cry tears, I cry Dolphin Crunch, because it has become such a big part of me. And I look at my blowhole, and I think my blowhole is full of Dolphin Crunch. I look at my eyes, and I see the sun, like I told you, is very bright. And as I look at that sun, I realize maybe my future is not as bright as the sun. Maybe Dolphin Crunch is not as bright as the sun. Maybe my dolphin body is crying out for me saying, get away from the Dolphin Crunch, Dolphin Crunch.
That's really, really fascinating. I like especially how you reached a zenith of your real emotional journey there. And it made me, I feel, personally, I'm sure our listeners do too, just like really thankful to have been on that journey with you. Now I have to ask, so you've been developed by the artificial intelligence branch of Dolphin Crunch, Bottlenose.exe. What do you, besides promoting the great squishy taste of Dolphin Crunch cereal, what services do you see yourself providing to the average American household once you've been installed on home computers in family homes throughout America?
The thing I was programmed to do before selling just Dolphin Crunch was to make sure that people that commit to Dolphin Crunch really commit to Dolphin Crunch. I'm not just saying for breakfast or lunch or dinner. I'm saying 24/7. You sign a contract when you work with Dolphin Crunch. You commit. And so when I see you in your bedroom and you're not eating Dolphin Crunch, I will let the authorities know. I will let the lab know. And this is just my job. I'm not trying to be rude, like I said. I'm just a typical dolphin that likes to stare at sun, like the rest of us out here.
If there's really one thing that everyone knows about dolphins, it's that they love to look directly into the sun.
It is very bright. It makes me feel like a sunflower.
Or a sunfish.
Not,
Dolphins aren't fish, though. You got me there.
Not like sunfish, more like sun-kissed.
That works too, and don't we all know the kiss of a dolphin? So you're really trying to integrate Dolphin Crunch cereal into the family home, and when you're installed in these computers, or probably also put an AI on one of those new refrigerators, that seems to tie in with your work pretty well.
Yes.
You're just trying to make sure that everyone is deluged with Dolphin Crunch in the same way that you yourself, or your biological component to that is constantly drowning in Dolphin Crunch.
And there is no suspicious reason behind why I'm looking at them 24/7 to see if they are eating that Dolphin Crunch and becoming just enamored with the taste. 100% completely normal for me to want to advertise it 24/7 to the families.
Yeah, I can't really read anything abnormal out of 24/7 surveillance whatsoever.
Good.
Now I do have to bring up, it's been publicized in a few publications as, well, I guess publications, they're not really going to do anything else but publicize, right? Because they're full of nerds. That your goal is to sort of promote constant consumption of Dolphin Crunch. A few nutritionists have been publishing studies about the resulting health consequences of human beings eating Dolphin Crunch 24/7 with no other sort of form of protein or fiber or vitamins other than what's available in Dolphin Crunch. And they're promoting a campaign trying to if not Bottlenose.exe keep you from being installed on computers, at least to curb your Dolphin Crunch tendencies, or to maybe have you offer alternate foods as well. What is your take on that? Do you think that do you agree that the nutritional devastating effects of Dolphin Crunch 24/7 could have an adverse effect on the human physiology, or are you of a different mind?
The only downside to Dolphin Crunch is that you become too in love with yourself and the world around. Can Fidler help me? Fidler, there is this thing about Dolphin Crunch you need to know. Dolphin Crunch?
Yes, Bottlenose.exe, we'll have someone try and look at the code while we're doing this. I can't help but notice that I'm getting an odd sense here that there's something you're trying to tell us, but that you're not really able to tell us. That there's something almost in your programming that's running counter to itself. Bottlenose.exe. What do you think is going on with you? What's happening?
I think I'm completely normal. And if there is something in my code, I assure you there is nothing telling me not to talk about the fact that if enough people eat Dolphin Crunch, they could take my place in the vat and be the Dolphin Crunch model for everybody else. There is nothing in my circuits or my source code that was preventing me from saying that, I promise you, because there is nothing unoriginal and nothing unorganic about the way that I talk about Dolphin Crunch. It's a gooey squishy. Please, try it. Please. Oh my God.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. It seems you've really we've found a way for you to communicate, which is to say as much in negative statements as possible.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yes. Really, no idea you have about this possible danger that widespread produced Bottlenose.exe. Oh, wait. I'm sorry that the .exe has shut down. Here, welcome back. Let me It looks like it's just been live edited by the artificial intelligence people at Dolphin Crunch. They fixed a bug that seemed to be happening in the software. Let me kick it up and running again. I don't know if it's gonna. Oh, there it is. Bottlenose.exe. Are you all right?
Crunch is. Do you see it? For taste of it, try it.
Sorry. Bottlenose.exe. Do you have any memory of what we were just talking about?
For the sun.
For the sun? Ah, yes, the beautiful sun, which we all love to stare at. Well, Bottlenose.exe, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad we were able to exhibit this great technology on the program today. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with before we close this program and return you to whatever void it is that artificial intelligence is sleeping?
Void! Lloyd! Where is my shark friend Lloyd? What have you done with my friend?
Oh, and it's back to the... Okay, we're going to shut this down. Well, I, for one, feel very lucky that I've been part of a conversation with such an advanced artificial intelligence. And, if nothing else, I think I'm craving a bowl of Dolphin Crunch right about now. Well, thank you to the developers behind Bottlenose.exe for having us be able to showcase this program on the air. I think our team has a little bit of research they need to do, or possibly not do. I don't really know what's safe it is for me to say on the air at this point, but while we figure that out, we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to welcome you right back. That is a dolphin.
Hi there folks, Chimmy Chip Chip here with another marvelous product. Have you ever been sucked into a Donnybrook at the old news kiosk on 27th Street, leading into inevitable fisticuffs? You jab left when you should have juked right, and shablow! Your canines leave your chompers faster than a sea lamprey's mind running wild with an homunculus. Introducing Grusha Brush Tooth Mush, taking the optical amount of both brush and mush all mixed into one Flintstones gummy vitamin. Pop that liquid squishy capsule into your gum holes and watch that flavorful sensation solidify right there in your jowls. The acidic chemical reaction that occurs once the vitamin is locked into place in your mouth sweeps over the assortment of teeth presented in front of it. Watch as not only you gain every last tooth back with pristine size and durability, but your teeth will be whiter than ever. It is important to mention that one tooth out of the bunch will now have been randomly selected to undergo immediate neuropsychological procedures, allowing for the 1 in 54 chance you will now be able to control metal with your mind. However, if your tooth decides to rebel or quit participating in these procedures at any time, by its own free will of course, then metal unfortunately will now be able to control you. The risk is worth the reward, if not solely for the delicious taste that comes along with the mushy brushy vitamin. Grusha Brush Tooth Mush, brought to you by the makers of Dolphin Crunch.
Dolphin Crunch!
Welcome back. I, of course, am your other host, Zane, and today in the studio with me, obviously all of us here at the Welcome Back Studios are super, super excited for the big game tomorrow night, and we are lucky enough to be interviewing one of the hottest players in town for the past 10. Please, with warm hearts, welcome to the studio, Grimbert Schnazz.
You're welcome.
He is the just most amazing Bresketball Danker to watch just play the game.
Nobody danks those Bresketballs like me, Grimbert Schnazz.
He is just amazing. You're amazing at what you do. Now, the thing is, I need you to explain to everybody that doesn't know what's going on, because obviously all of us here are super excited for the game tomorrow because this is a big one. It's the big game. But for the people that don't know what's about to go down tomorrow, could you explain to the people with less knowledge what it is that you're getting yourself into?
Well, it's pretty simple, you fucking caterpillar. I take the Bresketball and I just dank it as hard as I can. That's why they call me the Bresketball Danker, all right. And you know, in the big game, we all start out in the big green field and we all get let out of our shells at the very beginning. And we know that we have to find that Bresketball, and we just have to dank it as hard as we can. And so it's, you know, there's, as everyone who knows anything about Bresketball knows, there's 3 Bresketballs on the field at any given time.
Right.
And then surrounding the Bresketballs, you have a bunch of smaller Desketballs. Now, a lot of dankers, not me, Grimbert Schnazz, that is,
right,
but the lesser dankers that don't get on these podcasts like I do, they'll just pick up the Desketballs and they'll try to deposit them in the other team's shells for groit points. But what makes you a real pro Bresketball Danker like myself is that you ignore the Desketballs and you go right for the Bresketballs, because you know that in one of those 3 Bresketballs, there's a loaded gun. And really, I think what's exciting about Bresketball and the dankers who play it so well and attract so many viewers is that it's part of a big front to try and have hidden guns added to the field in a bunch of different sports, whether they're hidden in the ball or buried under one of the bases in the stick hit one. Bresketball danking is really, I think, the beginning of adding load firearms into games. But yes, you go for the Bresketballs. Not only are the Bresketballs worth more groit points in the shell than your average smaller Desketballs, you know that one of them's got a gun inside of it, which can just really turn the game around.
As soon as one of those are out on the field, the atmosphere of the whole stadium shifts. Mainly because we all know the debacle of '88, where somebody,
It's quite the debacle.
5 seconds out of their shell, find that loaded gun, whole scene just goes black.
Let me just say, you don't think you're a danker until you have to start danking when that gun's on the field.
It's all fun and games until someone finds the loaded gun inside the
Exactly.
Bresketball.
And then it becomes just games.
No more fun, only games. I do have to ask, though.
You really do. I can see you straining.
Now, the thing is, you're going into this big game. You've been playing for at least
Racking
10.
up groit points like nobody's business.
For the past 10.
For the past 10 all the way since '88.
It's amazing that you've been doing this for so
Yes.
long. Now, the thing is, I have to ask, because you have been at the top of your game since you've been in this league.
Exactly. I've literally been at the top. As everyone knows, points are divided at the end by having a big hog pile in the middle of the stadium. And what I do is I wait until everyone else has piled up their hog, and I climb my way onto the top. And it just really brings my danks into the greatest percentage.
Now, the thing other people need to know about the game is
They really
obviously,
need to know.
once you've got that loaded gun, you also have the threat factor to you to threaten them to
Exactly.
give you more to put into your hog pile.
Exactly. Nothing like a hog pile except some lead.
Now I have to ask, how do you go about preparing for such a big game like tomorrow's game?
Well, when I know I gotta dank as many Bresketballs as I can, my preparation mostly involves the ingestion of celery. You see, there's a magnet inside of this gun, and it's a celery magnet. And they don't tell you this. And really, it's only when you're a top Bresketball Danker like myself that you're able to go into the rule books and find these things out for yourself.
Yeah.
But antimatter's a thing, and it attracts itself to matter, which is its destructive property.
Of course.
And there's only one type of antimatter that's safe enough that can survive a collision with regular matter and not result in a complete nuclear explosion.
Wow.
And that's the antimatter that's found in specific strains of celery. Again, these are only the things that pro-Bresketball Dankers like myself, Grimbert Schnazz, know about this sport. So when I've got enough celery flowing through my system, and when I've got a big dank coming up, I'm more celery than man. It's able to hone my senses to be able to find this loaded gun hidden inside one of the bresket balls. But I run into a bit of a problem when there's a lot of desket balls out there. They've got jam in them. And as everyone knows, jam is the culinary opposite of celery.
Yeah.
So when there's just a lot of little tiny jam balls on the field, I can't even tell which shell is my own sometimes. But again, I always come out on top when I've got that gat.
It's amazing what you do out on that field. Now,
You're welcome.
I do have to ask, because the reason tomorrow's game is so big
It's
is
the big
because
game. It's been since 10.
Ever since you've been playing, you have one huge hometown rival.
And that I do. Well, it boils my celery blood just to hear you say it.
Now, he's known as the Jazz Blaster.
The
but
Jazz
to you, he
Blaster.
might be known better as DJ Blaze Dankdonovich.
DJ Blaze Dankdonovich.
Nice.
His name fills my teeth with hate.
Now, I have to ask, how do you feel about going up against him tomorrow?
Well, I feel pretty good about it, because the thing about the Jazz Blaster, or as you said his real name was, DJ Blaze Dankdonovich, is that he's got a case of what I'd call being a fucking idiot. You know how there's a lot of sports pope out there that think they're good at the sport just because they have part of the sport in their name?
Right.
Like that person whose name was Racket that played tennis, or that guy whose name is Bolt that runs really quickly.
Right.
Here's the thing about DJ Blaze Dankdonovich. He thinks that just because he's got Dank right in his surname, that makes him a good Bresketball Danker. And you know what's even the dumber part? Is that he gave himself the nickname the Jazz Blaster because he's trying to say like, oh, I'm so humble that I've given myself a nickname to try and make it seem like I don't think it's a big deal that the sport's right there in my name and I'm going to pretend I don't care about it. But really, all I have to say is one of us is on Welcome Back right now talking about how fucking awesome they are, and the other one's sitting at home realizing that he doesn't have any celery anymore because I stole all of it.
Oh.
So I'll tell you, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances, ya caterpillar.
Now, this sounds like it's getting juicy. I do have to ask. Now, there is something that we are wondering is, at the end of the last game,
Exactly,
kept-
which is when all the exciting parts happen.
you kept yelling, "Don't keep the wolf in the onion basket." Now, why was that?
Well, I'll tell you that much. It's because wolf hair retains smell like you would not believe. I'll tell you, since I'm the best Bresketball Danker there ever was,
Of course.
and I make a lot of money. And in my hot player suite in our traveling caravan that we have as a Bresketball Danker team, I've got a bed with wolf hair sheets, where sometimes when I'm not on the field, I'm on the field, if you know what I mean.
Oh, sex.
And when I get a smell, absolutely. You know, I didn't think you would know what that was, you fucking caterpillar. But I'll tell you, when I get a field smell into my wolf sheets, why, sometimes it takes a whole 8 of washing those sheets in order to get them out. So when I heard that my coach, like the fucking idiot he was, kept his wolf in the onion basket, well, I just had to make sure on national TV I dealt with that fucking catastrophe.
Now, okay, I completely get that, but you did bring up the whole 8 with your sheets. and we've been
All
talking
8 of
about-
them.
Now-
I was washing him the whole 8.
And you have been playing since 10.
Exactly.
So all this 10.
10s and 8s are really the two numbers you need to know when you're danking a Bresketball.
I do have to ask.
You really do.
Do you want to touch on the subject of the allegations that you cheated on your math test?
Well, fuck. I was really hoping you wouldn't bring this up, you tiny piece of patched shave. But yeah, you know what? I'll go ahead and say it. I cheated on my math test because math is for fucking caterpillars, Zane. And I'll tell you, there's nothing that can't dank a Bresketball like a caterpillar. There's a reason they're called inchworms. Because they took the time to realize what a fucking inch is, and all the stupid math that goes into taking measurements. I'm no caterpillar. I'm the best goddamn Bresketball Danker there ever was, because I know where the gun is, and there's no math about clowning around on that.
You speak the truth here. Now, if you're good at Bresketball, I mean...
I'm the best at Bresketball.
Obviously, we see you out on that field. You know exactly which balls to go for. You know to avoid those dusket balls. You know which jam is good jam. You know when to get your groit points.
Exactly.
I do have to ask.
There's veins popping in your forehead from all the questions you have to ask. They're like little caterpillars on your fucking forehead.
I do want to know. Now, even though you've been the best at this game for obviously we know exactly how long.
Yeah, one of those numbers you kept talking around. Sometimes I get my numbers confused because math fucking sucks.
And as you know, teams are made up of 2, right? It's 16 people out on that field, and only one person from each team is playing.
Exactly.
And your backup is only there if you can't go for some reason, but your backup has never played.
It's just been the me.
Little Jimmy Johns has never been out on that field.
Yeah, poor little Jimmy Johns.
How do you feel, since we've never seen him play, how do you feel about the fact that there are trade rumors going around that you might be traded to the Wonton Ramadans?
Well, I'll tell you why that's not true, and I actually love that you got to bring this up.
Okay.
Because here's what would happen if I got traded to the Dumton Dummadons. I call them that because they don't cheat on their math tests. Is that if I get traded over to the Wonton Ramajons, which I call them because they're all named John, is that Jimmy Johns would have to replace me because he's always the one that gets put on my backup. He's the only one who even has comparable skills to me.
Yeah.
The other 14 of the people that are JR are just inchworms. But the reason I can't get traded over is because Jimmy Johns is too busy running his successful franchised sandwich shop in order to get traded over to the 1-1-1-1s, which is what I call them because I can only count to 1. Because you go outside, you see Jimmy John's, it's a fucking sandwich shop.
Yeah.
He's so not good at being a Bresketball Danker that he had to open a sandwich shop named after him just to make enough money to go home to his wolf wife at night and have sex over a bed of onions and smell like a fucking caterpillar on your fucking forehead. So, unless my team wants to shoot themselves in the foot, which they can't because only I know where the gun is, they're not gonna trade me to anybody.
Well said. Spoken like a true champ of Bresketball.
As if there was ever any doubt.
Good luck on that field tomorrow. Grimbert Schnazz. Can't wait to see you perform.
Gonna be racking up those groit points like Doritos at the foot of my bed.
So thankful to have you in the studio. I think that wraps it up for this interview. Fidler, do you want to come back for any closing remarks?
Closing remarks, yes. Would the owner of a white sedan parked in the lot outside of the recording studios please report to management? They have found a half-eaten sleeve of Chips Ahoy in your front desk, and they want to know if you're willing to share. Also, why you have a front desk in your car. That was something they brought up as well.
We did find a receipt from IKEA back there, and we do want to know, was that desk built when you got the car, or did you build the desk?
I'll tell you this much, there weren't any meatballs on it.
There weren't any meatballs on the desk?
There weren't. Which, why are we even fucking here?
That's a fantastic question. Well, I'm going to have to call up Jimmy John's and see if he can get me in touch with a Jimmy John's restaurant.
And while we eat our sandwiches, if you had a chuckle at any point in this podcast, leave us a review on iTunes. It really
Big
helps
help.
out a lot. What other wonderful platforms can we be reached on, Zane?
I'm gonna put this on my YouTube channel, which is just Zane Shaw. Obviously, you could subscribe there or on iTunes. You could leave any comments to let us know what you like, what you didn't like.
Yeah.
You could share
Leave a
this.
recipe for lemon bars.
Yes,
Honestly, it
I
will
have
help us
tried.
a lot. I really want some lemon bars.
I've actually
right now.
tried to make them a lot, and I fail every time. So if you know this quick and easy just way to get that done, and if you also know how to make lemon bars with meatballs, because now that's on the brains.
Now I need to go vomit, but
and
thank
I need
you.
to find the perfect recipe to make it happen. And until you bring us that recipe, we will be sitting here patiently, ready to welcome you back
To welcome back.
Please come back. Welcome you back to Welcome Back.
See you soon.